Now what you are doing is that you are reducing the interaction between student and teacher. PhD students are applying for lab assistants. Why? Education itself is not so important, or you do not care about the education. Having a paper which is called degree may not fetch you jobs. Actually, the job will rest again on class 12. Students who have done distance learning mode actually suffer.
The national education policy is just completed a year, and we are back analyzing the new announcements that were made or the old ones that were reiterated. And on top of that list is ABC, or the Academic Bank of Credit model, which has now been formalized. We have Delhi University Professor Dr. Abha Dev Habib with us. She teaches physics at the house and is also the treasurer for the Delhi University Teachers Association on TUTA. Welcome, Dr. B.
Thank you.
The multiple entry exit will help students break away from the shackles of sticking to one stream. One can select their course and can exit if they are not interested. This is a revolutionary change. This is not what I am saying. This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said when he was talking to the students and everyone else at the anniversary of NEP. Now, the NEP says that it's student friendly. It celebrates the gurus and teachers. But you and your colleagues at Delhi University have come out to say that it is making teachers irrelevant or will make teachers irrelevant. That's a very serious accusation. Why is there such a huge gap in how the policy is being interpreted? The government is saying something, the teachers are saying something else completely different.
So if you look at what three documents are going to do with on this whole thing, we need to look at three documents together. And these are ABC regulations, which have been just announced that there will be a bank which will store credits of the students, which they will earn. Then we have SWAM regulation, which was gazetted in March 2021. And then we have blended learning concept note, which was released by the UGC for feedback. But we are very sure that it will also come as regulation anytime. So if you look at this, then they are trying to basically change the manner in which regular studies are happening. We need to understand that distance learning mode, whether it is through IGNOU or each university may also have a center for distance learning mode, while they remain very important segment for taking education to masses, but students are really aspiring to be part of the universities. Students are really aspiring to be part of the regular stream. You know that across the world, universities are known for the coursework they offer, and students choose amongst top universities depending on what courses a university is going to offer. Now, the university may have a course curriculum, but what the student is getting out is going out with a degree, which actually may not be what the university thinks is the best course for the student. So it has a reduced role, and similarly, we see that as soon as you go towards online teaching, the role of the educator, the constant, we come as role models to the students. You have to understand that students come from various sections of the society. There are places where they do not see women who are working, Dalit, Bahujan students, and when they find teachers who are teaching so well from these sections, they become role models. They aspire students. But now what you are doing is that you are reducing the interaction between student and teacher. You are reducing their interaction, therefore their association will change. And the student, you are telling the student that degree is important, to get that piece of paper is important. Education itself is not so important, or you do not care about the education, you take the degree. My lectures are not tailor made. When I'm teaching, I look at my students and I look at the apprehensions they have. They ask me questions. Now, the fact that in a classroom, classroom provides a more equal space as opposed to students taking online courses from their homes. So it provides a space where students have the courage to ask. They have interaction amongst them. They have interaction with the teachers. But what this is going to do, these three documents together, is to reduce that interaction. Also, I want to say that in colleges and universities in India, teachers are hired on number of teaching hours. Now, if you are allowing students to take up to 50% courses through online. This is what ABC is saying. 40% swim regulation is saying, and blended mode concept note says that 40% of remaining courses which a student will take from the university, of all the courses. So if you will put together
Can be taken online.
40% of each paper,
Hmm.
which a student is doing within the university have to be done in a blended mode, which means the teacher will record their lecture. The student can hear these lectures in their own free time, and the teacher is there just to coach them or mentor them, meet them weekly, kind of situation. Have a small interaction, but not do lectures with the students in a
Right.
face-to-face situation. So you have reduced the role, and also because the teaching hours will reduce, this will mean the current generation of teachers or people who are aspiring to be teachers, they will find themselves jobless. And to this, I will say that recently in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha, question was asked how many ad hoc teachers are working in Delhi University, and it is
Hmm.
extremely shameful that the answer which was given to the parliament, the minister said only around 50 teachers in Delhi University are working on ad hoc basis, and in the entire country, only 78 teachers are working on ad hoc basis across the universities. Now, this number, if you will Google search, it will tell you that 10,000 seats across central universities are lying vacant. That for school teachers, it is running into 10 lakhs. Now, how can the government, give wrong data in the parliament? Now, this brings us to the question that has the government already decided that they do not need teachers? We need to understand that all agencies, government agencies.
We'll get to that. Abha, I just wanted to talk about the thing that you pointed out about 50% of the credits from being collected from portals like Swayam or any other portal that the government comes up with later. They have been pushing Swayam for the past year. But I agree that it does make the interaction is less. There's no class interaction. There's no peer-to-peer interaction. But at the same time, it does it not take education to a larger number of people who are not being able to, suppose, come to Delhi or travel to Delhi, or does not even have the time, because there is an opportunity cost for higher education. You either give up, you have to give up something. You have to give up a job that you got after you maybe graduated your undergraduate or you passed your high school, and then you have to go for higher studies. In this setup, at least what the proposal was, that you can continue your education and have a job or support your family, which is a problem for a majority of Indians, that they are the earning member, or they are the bread earner of the family. So will it not push more students to higher education, like the
Uh,
government is saying?
yeah. So Prajanma, for all of this, distance learning education mode is already there. And this is what students from across the countries do if they are not able to attend university in a regular mode. But as I have told you, what is important for students for a holistic growth, this having a paper which is called degree may not fetch you jobs, and therefore when if you will compare the job market, people prefer those students who have gone to regular colleges. They always get white collar jobs, and across the world, the students who have done distance learning mode actually suffer, because in terms of personality development, what is also important is that when you go to a university, you learn to unlearn and then learn something new, which does not happen in isolation. In isolation at home,
Right. But the trade off here is you either get a degree or you don't go to college at all. Like,
no, that option is already existing. In online mode, which already exists,
right.
there is no bar on the number of students which can join. You can open many more good distance learning education universities like IGNU. You can open more central universities which cater to that need. See, while we want to make education accessible, finally it also has to be quality education. It has to be
Hmm.
quality. There has to be quality. So what you need is the students are aspiring to be part of regular studies, and you need to come
Hmm.
up looking at the demand. You need to invest money in more colleges and universities. Now, as opposed to that, if you look at NEP 2019, which is a very thick document
The draft, yeah.
from draft NEP, from which NEP finally 2020 has been published, you will see that the government is saying that right now education is happening in 45,000 units, universities and colleges put together, private, public put together, and this has to be reduced to 15,000. Now, how does that help students? So basically, you are saying that education, basically, on one hand, the government is deliberately going to make it more expensive because less and less students will find a good university in their neighborhood if the number of total universities has to come down, and they will be forced to live outside their houses to get their degree. And on the other hand, therefore, you will push many more to online kind of situation.
Online mode.
So you are going to create new stratification where even when you are enrolled for a regular, but say larger number of credits are coming from online, your degree will be devalued on that count.
Another critique of the ABC model's proposition to grant a degree at every stage, what that was that it is a way to show that you have zero dropouts. Whoever drops out, you give them a degree. But on the flip side of it, it also allows you to study in one unified system, get a job if you want after a year or two, like we were talking about. You won't be called a high school graduate if you couldn't complete a course for some reason. How would this impact the education sector? We have spoken about it, you have spoken about in bits and pieces about it, but the job market will also be affected by this. If you have people who are no longer high school graduates, they are a diploma degree holder because they went to college for 1 year. It has a good part, it has a bad part, that's different. But how will it affect the education sector and the job market? Because you have students who go out in the job market.
See, right now what happens is that students, depending on their needs, either do a certificate course or they do a diploma or they go for graduation. Now, what the NEP is trying to propose is a unified model where the student has a choice to enter the system and leave the system at whatever time. So the teachers have to draft, or the universities have to come up with a proposal where they make 4-year structure, where the student moves out with the first year. After first year, they get a certificate,
diploma.
Out from diploma. Now you have to understand that in this hierarchy, the fact that there are 4 years itself creates a hierarchy. And I want to understand that while you may have a thing of certification, while there is a certification, you are actually a dropout. And this is how the job market is going to take you, because there are so many people with higher qualification. Also, to make a common coursework from where there are sensible certified courses which will lead to certification, sensible coursework which will lead to diploma is not possible. So you are actually going to dilute the entire coursework. And to have done, say, if you are a certificate in history, you have enrolled for history honors, but you end up with a certificate in history, which means you have done 4 modules of history. There is no job market. So actually the job will rest again on class 12. So you will not be valued over and above that. And you are today glaring at a situation where even engineers are applying for PN's job.
Right.
So in that situation, and PhD students are applying for lab assistants. Why? Because the government has failed to create jobs. Government has given degrees, and already in Haryana, states like Haryana, there is non-attending engineering colleges. Now, non-attending engineering colleges, students just take exam ticket and they write exams, but there are no classes held. Now, if you will give degrees like this, their values will degenerate. You are basically using important time of the youth and misleading them.
NEP focuses a lot on online learning, and you are saying that it will reduce the universities to just a degree issuing authority. But isn't the world going online? Isn't every university coming up with some form of online structure, so to speak? Why is this different?
Universities may be coming, but universities are not destroying their regular courses. What we are looking here is that you are not saying that we will now also have universities. For example, we have distance learning mode as well, School of Open Learning, which is to cater to the students who want to earn their degrees through distance learning mode. Now we can make that fancy. We can make, upgrade that. and how the teaching and learning is happening there, how modules are being made. We can experiment on that, improve them, use top-end techniques which are with us in the world, which are being used, the best of the practices. But no university across the world is destroying their regular structure.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you about dilution of courses that you have spoken about very extensively, even in the DUTA statement that had come out after the PM speech. And even during the course of this conversation, you've spoken about dilution of courses. What exactly do you mean when you say a course is being diluted? How is it being diluted? Is the curriculum being changed so much?
Yeah. So, for example, I will want to say that, right now examination is happening in online mode, and you said that is without any rigor, and there is no way to control whether the student is cheating or anything like that. In fact, everybody knows how people are writing their examination. Has the UGC or people been able to come up with scheme where they can cut down on all of that? Now, a student who wants to have a degree with some credible marks may want to do some online modules. Okay, and I will tell you that online modules are also, when you do distance learning and online modules, they also do not want to fail students. So quizzes are arranged in such a manner that most of the students will keep passing these quizzes. Okay, so it is not with that kind of rigor which you have it in face to face.
We have to wait and watch how this pans out. Thank you so much, Dr. Habib, for joining us.
Thank you for giving this important discussion. This is a very important, relevant discussion for teachers and students today. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Do feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.